The diner on Maple Street hadn't changed much in 30 years. The same red vinyl booths, the same jukebox that still played Johnny Cash when someone fed it quarters, the same coffee that tasted like home no matter how many times you came back. It was the kind of place where folks in their 50s and 60s gathered not just for the pie, but for the quiet comfort of knowing the world outside hadn't forgotten how to be kind. Thomas Reed sat in the corner booth, the one by the window that caught the late afternoon light just right. At 58, he carried the marks of a life lived fully, a few scars from construction sites long ago, a slight limp from the fall that ended his days climbing scaffolds, and the quiet weight of raising his daughter alone after Sarah passed 15 years earlier. His face was weathered, with a short beard streaked gray, and today it bore fresh bruises around one eye and along his jaw, a reminder of the argument he'd broken up outside the hardware store that morning. Nothing serious, just a couple of young men too full of anger and not enough sense. Thomas had stepped in like he always did, because someone had to. He sipped his black coffee, staring at the steam rising slow, thinking about how the years had a way of teaching you that most fights weren't worth the bruises they left behind. The bell above the door chimed softly. She walked in like she belonged there, though she clearly didn't. Eleanor Hayes, 61, CEO of Hayes Enterprises, the kind of company that built things people used every day, bridges, office towers, lives. Her blonde hair was swept into a neat bun, her makeup subtle but flawless, and she wore a deep red dress that caught the light like it remembered how to shine. She looked tired in the way only someone who carried too much could, shoulders straight, eyes sharp, but something softer underneath, something that had been waiting a long time to breathe. She scanned the room, spotted the empty seat across from Thomas, his booth was the only one with space, and approached without hesitation. "May I sit here?" she asked, voice calm, polite, but carrying the quiet authority of someone used to boardrooms. Thomas looked up, met her eyes. For a moment the diner noise faded, the clink of forks, the low murmur of conversation. He saw the faint lines around her eyes, the way her necklace rested against her collarbone like it had stories of its own. He nodded slowly. "Only if you eat too. Coffee's fresh, pie's better." A small smile touched her lips, the first real one she'd allowed herself in weeks. She slid into the booth opposite him. They sat in companionable quiet at first. Thomas didn't rush to fill the silence, he'd learned long ago that some moments needed room to settle. Eleanor ordered coffee and a slice of apple pie, warm, with a scoop of vanilla. When it came, she stared at it like it was something rare. "I haven't had pie like this since my mother used to make it," she said quietly. "Back when life was simpler." Thomas nodded. "My Sarah used to say the same thing. She'd bake on Sundays, fill the house with cinnamon. Our daughter, Lily, still talks about those pies. She's 30 now, lives in the city. Calls every week to make sure I'm not living on sandwiches." Eleanor looked at him then, really looked. "You're a single dad." "Was. Still am, in a way. Lily's grown, but you never stop worrying." He touched the bruise on his cheek absently. "Old habits." She reached across the table without thinking, her fingers gentle on his chin, tilting his face just enough to see the damage better. Her touch was careful, almost tender, like she was handling something fragile she'd only just discovered. "Does it hurt?" she asked. "Not much," he replied, voice low. "Hurts less when someone's looking at it like that." Their eyes held. In that moment the years between them didn't matter, the board meetings, the late nights alone, the children grown and gone, the spouses lost to time. What mattered was the simple truth that two people could still find each other in a small-town diner on an ordinary Tuesday. Eleanor let her hand linger a second longer before drawing back. "I came here to get away," she admitted. "The company's expanding again. Everyone wants a piece of me, decisions, signatures, futures. I forgot what it feels like to just sit." Thomas understood. "I used to think work was everything. Built houses for other families while mine waited. Then Sarah got sick, and suddenly none of it mattered except being there. After she was gone, I learned the hard way, life's too short to chase things that don't hold you at night." She looked down at her pie, untouched. "I built an empire so no one could hurt me again. After my husband left, I thought control was the answer. Turns out control just makes the quiet louder." He reached over, covered her hand with his for a brief moment, calloused fingers against soft skin. "Maybe it's time to let some of that go. Not all at once. Just a little." They talked then, slowly, like people who had all the time in the world. About the music on the jukebox, how it used to mean something. About the way kids today didn't know the joy of a landline ringing. About the small wisdoms that come with age, that forgiveness isn't weakness, that love doesn't always arrive on schedule, that sometimes the best thing you can do is sit across from someone and listen. Hours passed. The diner emptied, then filled again. The light outside turned golden, then soft blue. When Eleanor finally stood to leave, she paused. "Thank you, Thomas. For the seat. For the pie. For reminding me there's still room for something real." He stood too, slower, joints reminding him of the years. "Come back anytime. Booth's always open." She smiled, warmer this time. "I will. And next time, I'll bring the stories." She left, the bell chiming behind her. Thomas watched her go, red dress fading into the evening. Weeks turned to months. Eleanor came back, first for coffee, then for dinner, then for long walks after closing when the owner let them stay late. They shared memories of old songs, laughed at how the world had changed, cried quietly over what they'd lost. Thomas taught her how to fix a leaky faucet, she showed him spreadsheets that somehow made sense of dreams. Lily met her one weekend, hugged her like family. It wasn't fireworks. It was steadier, two people in their later years finding that life still had room for gentle surprises, for hands that fit together just right, for love that arrived quiet and stayed. One evening, back in that same booth, Eleanor leaned close, fingers brushing his cheek where the bruises had long faded. "You changed everything," she whispered. Thomas smiled, "I soft. We changed it together." And in the warm glow of the diner lights, with Johnny Cash singing low in the background, they knew the truth that comes only with time. Sometimes the best chapters start when you think the book's almost closed. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, subscribe, and comment below, Iski complete banadu, so we can keep bringing these warm tales to life. Thank you for listening.